At the same moment Wayne left and closed the doors, the four of them let out joyous war cries. Wayne shrugged and looked up to the light on the second floor of the music shop. That must be how I look to Leo. They make me so worried I can't look away for a second. As Wayne got into the car, the side of his face was illuminated for an instant by a passing car. He didn't look even remotely unhappy. Wander this city. Become my eyes and ears, and always keep your fangs sharp. I've been waiting for this day. I'm on fire! Literally. Sal, thank you! You're so cool! It's all thanks to you speaking out. We're the Wandering Dogs. A secret unit made up just us four. Yeah, I'm sure we'll make a legend together. Yes, let's do it! And then they all died. Madame Rose was the sort of who liked to point ahead carefully. That was only natural, since she started from a position where she had to unite those devious ladies of the evening. She's actually Zell. However, it wasn't as though political decisions would be made to resolve anything. Everything. You mean to resolve the labor issue quickly? It was necessary to be a little forceful. That certainly was Richard's view. They couldn't just ask the out-of-work laborers to please wait longer until they were still negotiating. Poor laborers were Primavera's greatest supporters. Hey, poor people do whatever they want. If they couldn't match up the laborers' expectations, their support would plummet and Primavera would lose its power. If the organization weakened, it would break apart, or might invite meddling from organizations in other cities. Exactly. It would revert back to the earlier Dark Era. Never again would people be able to speak up and call for everyone to protect their fellow countrymen. To Richard, it was more important for Primavera to gain support than it was for them to reach an agreement with Lee. I mean, it is. Because she's right. Like, their whole support is the people that they're, like, fighting for, quote-unquote. Like, turning your back on people like that when you, like, make your whole stand about, like, I'm fighting for our people and making a better world and all that. And then you kind of just be like, you know what, I'm gonna put you on hold because, I want to do other... I want to negotiate with this, like, Chinese dude, and you're just gonna have to fucking deal with it while they, like, steal a bunch of labor and other shit like that. Like, it's just a recipe for things going badly. So Madame Rose's way of doing things was too polite. Can you be sure about that? The Chinese value their pride above all else. On the other hand, if the Japanese were given the choice of accepting a candy offered to them with a respectful bow, or else crawling on the floor and pick up a stack of bills someone had thrown there, they would choose the latter. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you take the fucking money? I'm just saying. It was a cruel example, but Julie couldn't argue. The way the Japanese prioritized profit over love of their countrymen was still the same even in the 21st century. I apologize for the crude metaphor. What I'm trying to say is that the Japanese and the Chinese have different senses of values. Just like the Japanese proverbs, all's well that ends well. That's fucking not Japanese, is it? Wait, what? There's no fucking way. There's no way. Shut the fuck up. The Japanese are people who put the focus on the result, ignoring the past in the process, while the Chinese put more emphasis on the process. Trust the process. As a half-Japanese person herself, Madame Rose probably understood the different sets of values foreigners had. At that moment, Primavera's greatest rival was the GDS. If you consider that they would have been able to maintain the peace, as long as no trouble was stirred up within the GDS, then you might say that Richard's discord-causing methods were mistaken. But Richard had probably thought that the carrot in the special offers window deal would cancel out the stick of a rushed union creation. From Chinatown's perspective, this looked like he was tossing a bundle of bills on the ground and making them pick it up. By their sense of value, no matter how attractive the special offers windows might be, they couldn't agree because of the process that damaged their honor. Fuck them. So, if Primavera forced the creation of a union, the GDS's owner would be damaged, but they still wouldn't agree to the specials offers window deal. So would they just give up and accept defeat? They're resilient people. They wouldn't give up on the specials offers windows over something like pride. They wouldn't pick up a specials offers window that someone had thrown on the floor, but they could accept one if presented to them with a deep bow. Yeah, fuck them. You know what? It's too much fucking work. Fight them. Fuck it. We have better than them. In that case, they simply had to arrange matters so that it would be possible for them to accept it. So what does that mean? I'm confused. Rather than having it given to them as a reward for agreeing to the Union project, which was humiliating to Chinatown, it'd be much more convenient to make Primavera surrender and have them offer it as a compensation under the guise of it being a token of their friendship. The old City 23 specials offers window had been outside of the GDS's reach. No human wants things that they can never get. However, once they find it might be possible to get something, that all changes. Madame Rose didn't want to make them lose face, so she offered them the specials offers windows. Richard was too anxious. I swear, can we have like an SOW here? The fucking sow or something? Because I am so fucking tired of saying it. Holy fuck. Give me an abbreviation. Richard was too anxious to ignore them and prioritized his own countrymen, so he forcefully proposed the creation of a union. These two goals caused an unfortunate chemical reaction, and became sparks that ignited the next war. Sweet. Fuck him. I mean, I'm completely on Richard's point here, at least in regards to, like, fucking Chinatown here. Like, holy fuck. Where the hell do they think they're coming from? Like, who do they think they are? Seriously. Oh yeah, we can just say like, nah, fuck off. What have you done? What have you done for us that makes you so special? Like, sure, they helped us out a little bit, but what fucking cost? Honestly, what fucking cost? They got new shit, so now they can fucking bow down for us. They didn't bow for us, now they get to. We're not gonna bow to them. In a certain hotel, there was a gathering of newspaper reporters and Japanese VIPs from City 23, all bathed in the light of bright camera flashes. These flashes were centered on a large signboard with vertical writing on it. These were the words written on that majestic signboard in beautiful handwritten characters. The City 23's Japanese Countrymen's Labor Union. That's a mouthful. Just say a labor union. Or City 23 Labor Union. This is our first experiment in creating a new post-war society for our Japanese countrymen in City 23, a society where all people help each other out. The occupying forces will prioritize local businesses when giving business orders. Local businesses will prioritize local laborers when employing workers. And local laborers will spend their money locally, creating financial circulation on a local basis, which is what's important. You need to have an inflow of cash. I prefer to think of this model case for local restoration as just one social experiment carried out under GHQ supervision. Modern Tokyo is filled with people of varying races, nationalities, and backgrounds. Even in the City 23 alone, colonies of Japanese, American, and Chinese people have been established. They all have their own different cultures, differing languages, and differing lifestyles. In other words, in this mingled state of affairs, the city is not the smallest division of administration. In that sense, what we are proposing is truly the smallest unit of administration. We will be a bridge between the city government and our Japanese countrymen. Doing so, we will encourage the development of our local society and continue to contribute to society at large. If the way this setup wasn't like really fucked up, I would actually really disagree with like the idea of like splitting up this shit. But the problem is the local city or the government of this area is completely divided, and it's fucking insanity. If it was like a central government of a city, like with the mayor, all that, governor, blah, 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 and it was set up in a proper way, in that they actually have autonomy and control, there's no reason to have like, oh, You know, only Japanese people can work here. When you could have just citizens of that city work there instead. This is a founding principle of the City 23, Japanese Countrymen Labor Union. Mouthful. The establishment of the City 23 Labor Union was announced far and wide. Its impact was immense, and it became plastered across newspapers all over eastern Tokyo. Also, to be fair, it's also not like one city, because like all of it is just fucking split up. Across City 23, newspaper extras were printed, and Japanese laborers welcomed it with applause. It's really dumb to like cut up a city as much as they have. Long live City 23! Long live the Countrymen's Union! Long live Primavera! Long live Madame Rose! I'll finally be able to work! I'll be able to earn money and get back my wife. Go back to my wife. Once you guys get more money, our shops will thrive too. Even the soup might get a little less bland. Wah! The nighttime city, packed with laborers, was filled with joy until long after dark, and the voices praising this accomplishment didn't go away even after dawn came. For the first time, residents of City 23 were glad to be residents of City 23. And so Primavera would now be remembered not only as the ruler of the criminal underworld, but as an organization for the mutual aid of their countrymen. Of course, several predictable problems arose. First, there were laborers from other cities who were being turned away. Get fucked. Some of them called this a human rights violation, and began complaining to political newspapers aimed at laborers. What the fuck? How is it a fucking human rights violation? Make your own fucking union then. Go to your own other city. You have the power of labor. Point to them and be like, that's what we want. We're establishing a union. We refuse to work. Everyone here refuses to work until our rights have been, or our demands have been met. Like, that's what you strike for. And you beat the shit out of anyone who tries to fucking scab. And break the strike. Fuck them. Like, that's how you do it here. If you're like those other laborers. Don't, like, complain because one city has nice things and then you don't get those nice things because you're not a fucking resident of that city. Shit sucks. However, Primavera had already finished laying a careful groundwork, and this criticism was sidestepped by pointing out that the root cause was the low wages in other cities. Exactly. And so they succeeded in turning the frustration held by laborers in other cities toward the employers in their own cities. Exactly. Don't get mad at us because we're smart. Get mad at you. You guys are dumb. As a result, several demonstrations sprung up in the cities around City 23 demanding large pay raises. And what we should do as Primavera is actually incentivize that and fund that. Have some of our guys bolster up those numbers and make it bigger. Because we prosper as other people around us prosper. Because then money can flow in between these cities. That's what you do if you want to like start a real movement. Across Tokyo as a whole, there was massive turmoil, but City 23 itself was peaceful in the eye of the storm. We should fund this. We should pump money into all of these areas. Some extra money, we don't necessarily give it back to our people. We put it into other areas and they spring up. They have more resources to then protest and riot more. Of course, establish a union with so much influence, it would have been necessary to lay careful groundwork. This is just politics. Fucking power politics at work. Not just with the local occupying forces, but with the GHQ itself. With beautiful women and enormous financial resources. Ah yes, the most important part listed first. Controlling important people was Primavera's strongest talent. The GHQ defended Primavera, issuing an opinion that this wasn't a problem generated by City 23, but rather a series of labor problems that should be tackled by all cities. Thanks, GHQ. Also a factor was the desire held by the US Army higher-ups to show off their approval of Japanese self-government in their cities and gain of popularity. This was all thanks to work Primavera had done with the GHQ through Butler. The other cities would probably be turbulent for a while with the labor troubles. This is why America's so much fucking better. Like, I don't care if they're like not necessarily like doing it in our best interest, but the fact is they're not actively against us and trying to undermine us like China is. Like, that's why America's so much better in this case, and that's why we should be way more friendlier with America and their influence in trying to push China out. Fuck China. However, people would probably bend to the labor's demands eventually, and they would see some level of wage rises in other cities too. There are several other small problems in addition to this one. Primavera made the requirement of becoming a union member, possession of Japanese citizenship, and proof of residence in City 23 for at least 1 year. This meant that problems sprang up with laborers who'd lived here for just under 1 year. Well, gotta wait a couple months. And with that, hadn't changed their certificates of residence after leaving other cities. Well, that sucks. On the other side, some harsh observers felt that those who had abandoned City 23 right away, before being drawn back by the promise of higher wages, had no love for their countrymen or their hometown. I mean, if they left, they'd probably change their residency, so get fucked. No matter how they tweaked the details, borders would have to be drawn somewhere and would become a source of friction. No policy existed that can satisfy 100% of the people. Hey, politics again. No matter how hard you try, the best you can achieve is satisfying 90% of people, forcing the other 10% to be discontent. That is very optimistic in saying 90%. Holy fuck, usually it's like 70 or 60%. Policies often get abandoned because of that 10%, a situation which is called the negligence of the administration. Because of that, it might have been impossible for such a radical reform to be carried out by anyone other than a non-governmental organization. If we assume that 90% of the city dwellers supported the union and 10% didn't, then in the shadows of citywide celebration, that 10% was whispering their discontent towards Madame Rose. Who cares? It's just fucking 10%. If it's a 90-10 split, every day you sign that. However, it would be wrong to fear being hurt by the voices of that 10%. This is what it means for a person to bear the brunt. Take the lead and suffer the first wounds. I'm sorry, but if that's the lowest bar, that's not that bad at all. What about Japan in the 21st century? Is it possible that the government and administration are too concerned with hurting people? In a country with over 100 million people, they're afraid even if one person voicing their discontent and hurting them. Through the internet, the voice of that one person spreads to the mass media. Well, it depends what kind of pain you're causing. If it's like actual like human rights violations, yeah, it's a little different, but whatever. The mass media, which gets higher ratings when they criticize the government, treats the voice as though it speaks for the people of the country. Because they're terrified of being hurt, those running the government and administration keep putting things off without resolving anything. Aren't we awkwardly carrying the various problems of the old century, many of which are teetering on the brink of disaster, with us into the 21st century? Madame Rose walked through the opposing winds. She must not be afraid of being hurt. I mean, I do like, though, that, like, a lot of shit is, like, the exact same, though. Though, I mean, to be fair, it's only written, like, what, fucking 8-9 years ago? But it's still, like, super fucking relevant, even today. And that's, like, I don't know, it's kind of a testament to, like, really, really good writing. If you can have something that, like, really holds up over time. Even just super, super common. Or, like, super well aligned. Well, fuck. That's the sort of resolve needed by someone standing at the spearhead of her ideals. Look, Rose being super confident in herself is really great. I love to see it. Only those who have no fear for such things can pull their era forward. As a member of Chinatown, I failed, but as a personal friend, I would like to show my respect for your decisive judgment, Rose. I apologize for what we've done. Why? Fuck! Dude, move. If you don't want to be left behind, you gotta move. Shit or get off the pot, bro. As a friend, I am grateful for your sentiment. However, as a fellow leader of one's own countrymen, I find it just a tad shameful. You're fucking shameful! How am I shameful? You are a dragon, after all. There's no need for you to turn around and apologize. Damn right. You're lucky I don't spit on you. Simply look forward and remain resolute. You're right, you're behind me, bitch. Thank you very much, Lee. However, I can imagine this announcement of ours is causing a big disturbance in Chinatown. Good. Oh, great and terrible. Must certainly well be. An uproar that will leave it covered in holes. The last and biggest problem with the union announcement was Chinatown. Fuck Chinatown, bro. Because of Primavera's countrymen first policy, the Chinese would be kicked out of the space in front of the employment agency, practically speaking. Good! They were stealing our shit! At that moment, the discontent and grumbling felt by Chinese laborers was probably focused on the GDS, their countrymen's organization. I really did want to step further forward with your solid consent. They were stealing our shit. His people. There's no helping it, that photo was fatal indeed. According to Lee's explanation, the GDS exec who set up the backdoor employment agency wasn't his subordinate. Of course not. He said it was a side job set up by a big exec from the main GDS group in C22 who had sidestepped Lee. What fucking sucks that you're part of that group then, bro? However, this wasn't a child's playground. It was the criminal underworld. As the boss of Small Rock Chinatown, Lee couldn't claim to be ignorant about business conduct on his turf. Oh, he fucking knew, of course. Even if his excuses happened to be true, Primavera couldn't afford to accept them. They're fucking bullshit, bro. Literally impossible that it's fake. He knew exactly what was happening. It is shameful, but even the GDS has factions within it. You should have tighter control in your own area, bro. I don't know what to say. I'm with the faction supporting the previous leader. As such, I'm not particularly well liked by by those supporting the Council of Elders. In fact, I'm glad for the actions Primavera had just taken. From Lee's perspective, his careful negotiations with Primavera had been crushed by the personal business of a council suborder. Lee was cunning. He's probably planning to use this as a card to attack the opposing faction. However, its opponents on the council side were the same. They were probably planning to find fault with Lee, assigning him in a different post, and send someone from their faction to act as Small Rock Chinatown's boss. It was certainly conceivable that they would succeed in placing the blame on this incident on Lee alone. Is there any assistance we could provide to improve your position? If we could make a deal regarding the special offers windows, I believe that would earn you a lot of credit. It indeed would. Small Rock Chinatown has desired the SOWs as much. So much, we would trade our right arm for it. Except not, because you wouldn't give us any fucking money or anything. You wouldn't give us a fucking inch on that shit. But yeah, you totally would trade an arm for it. And let's start negotiating right away and build a Chinese union. I'd plan on doing so, but the main group has interfered. How foolish it all is. If only they could seriously consider improving labor conditions for the countrymen like you have done. The minds of the elders are filled with nothing but their own shares and factional rivalries. Oh, we could actually also pump money into like China, or like these Chinatown City 22 types, and get them to overthrow the council. Fuck them. Rose spoke for all of Primavera, but Lee was only middle management, serving underneath the main group of GDS. Well, you should have sent me to the main guy. Isn't there any way I can help by speaking with the GDS main group? I appreciate the sentiment. The Chinese are complicated. It isn't a matter that a Japanese person could come in and resolve. I ask that you leave the matter in my hands for the time being. If there's ever a way to help, I can help. Please let me know. I don't abandon my friends. Fear not, there are no problems. No, problem's one. What's that? At all times, stay true to yourself. Do not lose sight of who you are. If you remember that, I will be very reassured. Lee might have been prepared for a purge to occur. After all, most HR decisions in the criminal underworld are settled with blood. However, Rose couldn't afford to lose Lee. Lee was her only connection to the GDS. The thing is, though, he's really bad for us, like, if we ever fight him. So, I'm okay losing him. If Primavera lost him, they would be searching around with their hands in a dark room, along with the monster called GDS. If either party managed to grasp the other's hand, all well and good. However, if they bumped elbows or bumped heads, both would think the other had attacked them, and a feud could easily break out. And so she wanted to do as much as she could as a peace offering to Lee. No matter what happens, follow the dragon's path you believe in. If you don't, I won't be able to rest in peace. Lee smiled as though he'd reached a philosophical understanding. Rose thought. She thought that her ideals might have resulted in him being sacrificed too. Sucks to be you, bro. However, she couldn't avert her gaze. Bye, bitch. Lee. It is possible that this will be our final parting. The next person who takes up my post will surely be someone who displays no understanding of the Japanese at all. Oh my fucking god. Martyr yourself more, bro. Holy fuck. It may result in fighting between the GDS and Primavera. There already is! You wanted her to die! Get fucked, dude! How are you taking the moral high ground here? You are perfectly okay with turning her into a fucking suicide bomb. Get out of here. When that happens, will you stick to your dragon's aims? Yeah, and we'll cut his head off. I will always continue to watch over you to see whether you do or not. Yes. No matter what happens, I will continue to uphold what you taught me about dragons. You mustn't look back, not for someone like me. Yeah, exactly. Trash. Walk down your own path. Fuck, Lee. I look forward to your new City 23 you'll make. Thank you, Lee. Yeah, fuck Lee, dude. Holy shit. As Lee's car laughed, Rose watched it go, filled with emotions. You mustn't be afraid of being hurt. You mustn't look back, not for someone like me. Get the car, I'm returning to Primavera. Yes, madam. I've already started walking. I mustn't stop. I mustn't let anyone stop me. Not until I can create a society of our countrymen where everyone helps each other. Drops of the soul. Oh, good. Soy sauce shit. Oh, I can't wait. This is what I've been looking forward to. Oh, that means more Claudia. Ugh. Ugh.